We'll call the meeting to order. Thank everyone this evening for your valuable time and joining us, Council and Administration. I would like to ask at this time if Council has any added items. Administration?
None, Your Worship.
Thank you. Then I would ask then for an adoption of the agenda as presented. Councillor Walsh.
I move the adoption of the February 23rd agenda as presented.
Thank you. Those in favor? That is carried. Just a note that Councillor Baruchel is on vacation, so duly noted in our recording minutes. And previous minutes, please. Page 3 of your agenda. Can I please get adoption for February 9th? And Councillor Debbie. Councillor Debbie. Everybody's moved, you see? So.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the minutes from the February 9th, 2015 regular council meeting be adopted.
Thank you very much. And I would ask Councillor Bennett and or other councillors, do you have questions, additions, deletions? Seeing none, then I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Presentations and delegations. We have a full gallery, but it is not for our presentations or delegations. Mr. McGinnis, no delegations, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. We'll move down. Business arising out of the minutes. Seeing none, then we'll move right along to page 7 of your agenda. Please, item 6A under bylaws. And this evening, we will be starting with a public hearing. Public hearing. Very good. I got all my paper. We have a very, very big agenda, so you just have to bear with me as I follow the agenda. Thank you for your patience. Ladies and gentlemen, and I will declare the public hearing for Bylaw 2015-01 open. And I would at this time ask the Development Officer to explain the purpose and the effect of the proposed bylaw. Ms. Keelman? Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Okay, Bylaw 2015-01 is being presented as an amendment to the Land Use Bylaw 01-23. And it is an application to redesignate 4601 and 4609 of 47th Avenue from General Residential District R2 to the Medium Density Residential District R3. The applicant has submitted this application in order to accommodate a development permit for a multi-unit development, which is a permitted use in the R3 district. The proposal includes 2 addresses, which are at the end of a cul-de-sac abutting Highway 27. 4601 47th Avenue is currently developed with a detached dwelling and a detached garage, which was built in 1950, and the parcel area is 13,390 square feet. The other parcel, 4609, is currently developed with a detached dwelling that was built in 1952, and the parcel area is 9,000 square feet. Both properties have access to the rear lane. Area parcels to the west and the south of the subject properties are all designated as R2, and the land to the east on the corner of Highway 27 and 2A is designated Highway Commercial. The 2 parcels immediately to the south of that Highway Commercial land is designated R3 as well. The applicant has submitted a prospective design concept that we've included in your agenda package, potentially for the fourplexes to be developed if redesignation is approved. Also included is a potential site plan for the smaller lot of the 2, the one to the south, to demonstrate that a fourplex development could meet the requirements of the land use bylaw. Regarding circulation, we did circulate internally to the town departments, with the exception of a report from Parkland Community Planning Services, our planning contractor, that is also attached in your agenda. No other comments of concern were received. As required, because the land abuts a provincial highway, the application was also circulated to Alberta Transportation for comment, and they noted no concerns except that access from the laneway to the east of the parcel should not be used to gain access from the provincial highway to the proposed development. A written notice was also mailed to adjacent and area landowners. One letter was received from an area landowner commenting on traffic and street parking issues, and that letter is also included in your agenda package. With regards to town legislation and policy as it pertains to this application, the municipal development plan identifies the subject properties and surrounding lots to the south and west for residential use. The MDP supports infill residential development on vacant or underutilized parcels of land, and planning and development feel that these particular parcels of land are definitely underutilized at this time. MDP also identifies in the vision statement the availability of an abundance of housing options to meet the needs of the Olds residents, and states a goal of the town to create inclusive neighborhoods containing a range of housing opportunities and related compatible uses. With regards, the subject properties are also in the East Olds Area Redevelopment Plan, and which encourages redevelopment of underutilized and vacant properties, which supports the municipal development plan as well. The East Olds ARP also states that new housing or new multi-dwelling developments must be integrated with the surrounding neighborhood through appropriate site and building design. And finally, as per the town's land use bylaw, as shown in the prospective site plan, the area of the properties are sufficient to accommodate a higher density residential development, such as a fourplex or a row house. There is also available space to meet the minimum parking requirements of 7 stalls for a 4-unit dwelling on each parcel. And also there's room for landscaping, garbage, recycling bins, and snow storage. Therefore, planning and development staff do recommend support of this, or do recommend approval of this application to redesignate the subject properties to medium density residential district R3. And just for your information, the applicant is in the audience tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for that explanation and purpose for the bylaw. I will explain the procedure for the gallery. Presentations before council shall be brief and to the point, limited to 5 minutes. Council shall not allow cross-examination of persons giving information, and it will not be necessary for persons giving information to verify his or her qualifications. Council may ask questions of the speakers after each presentation for clarification purposes. No debating or questions from the floor will be allowed. No written or verbal submissions will be received by council after the public hearing is deemed closed. Persons addressing council will state their name and address and indicate if they are speaking on their own behalf or for a client and/or company or citizen group. I will now call for the first time for those in support of the proposed bylaw. Those in support. Thank you, and please use the microphone.
I'm Patricia Nugent. I am the property owner. I live at 101 Silverthorn Close, and I am in support of this due to the fact that I do have rentals in Olds. I've had them for a number of years, and it just seems to be less and less rentals available, and the property is the size that will accommodate multiple family dwelling. And being next to the highway, it's not real desirable for residential. And I think it's a good area for that, being close to college and with the new developments of East Olds.
Thank you for your information sharing.
Thank you.
Further, those in support? Seeing none, we will then now move to those opposed of the proposed bylaw. please come to the podium and use the mic if you're speaking?
Actually, we have sent the letter, it's already on file.
Okay, we do have the letter, ma'am. Would you like to verbally express any words, or just, we'll use the letter? Thank you. Any further, those opposed? Seeing none then, are there any persons deemed to be affected by the proposed bylaw? Seeing none then, I will now open the floor to council for comments or questions, and I will start with Councillor Bennett.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to address the parking issues with admin and wondered if we had taken a look at that since this application and if you had any info.
Supplemental, before our CEO asks that, I would like to add the fact that after reading the letter, the first thing that came to my mind would be why? Why are, and the note here, it says most days there is not enough room for front in our home for visitor parking vehicles. And it does state that the bylaw states for 2 off-street parking spaces per residence, but it says for some reason this is not the case. Residents are parking on the streets. And along with my colleague, Councillor Bennett, I need to know why. Have our peace officers confirmed this is the issue? And if so, why do they not have parking as it would have had to have been approved from MPC if they needed extra?
Yes, Your Worship. New developments are required, actually the formula in the land use bylaw is 1.75 parking stalls per unit. So a fourplex, for example, minimum would be 7. If you look at the site plans that we've included in the package, the potential developer actually plans for at least 8, which seems to work better. So if there's any new developments in that area, and I am aware there is 2 new actually duplexes on that street, they actually both have been required to each have 2 off-street parking stalls. That's the minimum requirement. If they have more, that's great. A lot of times we just see that dwellings have more than 2 vehicles per home, and that's maybe what's happening here.
That would be my opinion as well, and perhaps we may, as a town, need to treat it the same as we do along the College Street where they need a permit to park there, because it makes it unfair for any other people that live in the area when people start to add more vehicles than they're allowed per family at their dwelling. Mr. McGinnis, did you want to add to that at all?
No.
Thank you. We'll go around the table then. Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, I'm just curious, and this also relates to parking, that Alberta Transportation said they should not access Highway 27 from the lane. Will that be a requirement to close off that lane? Because we're talking the potential of anywhere from 14 to 16 to 18 new vehicles in that area. I'm just curious.
Who would like to speak to that?
Yeah, through the chair, I know Transportation has expressed interest on closing that lane, but after reviewing the businesses that were in the back there, they deemed it wasn't in their best interest to force that issue to close off the lane. They can suggest that no vehicles come out there, but when they looked at the garbage trucks and stuff coming from the commercial businesses, they deemed it was not a wise move on their part. I guess somewhere down the road, if we do get to a point where the funds are available to upgrade Highway 2 and 27, that may be an option down the road, but there's quite a bit of room to go south and then east for these vehicles to exit onto 2A.
Go ahead, supplemental.
Yeah, supplemental, and that's, again, will these whatever goes there, will they have access from 47th Avenue, or is all the parking and access from the lane in the rear? I mean, it's hard to tell, but when an application comes forward to develop, will they be able to ask for access from the front on 47th Avenue instead of the lane?
Through the chair, it'd be our opinion that they've applied for the parking stalls to be off the lane. we'd strongly disagree for them to come off the front street if that's the way if the parking stalls are in the back.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, in the future, if they come and ask for an application to put in a front driveway, being so close to that turnaround, we'd have to not support that.
Ms. Keelman, and then,
Yes, just further to that, actually, the East Olds area redevelopment plan doesn't support front driveways. Not that it can't be done or applied for and potentially approved, but it's not approved at this time in the East Olds ARP.
and the East Old study was done for a reason. We'll move over to Councillor Overwater and then Councillor Harper.
Thank you, Your Worship. With East Olds having more and more of these infills, which pertains to more people living there, the infrastructure, is that up to date, that it will continue to handle all the higher density?
Through the chair, if I may, those three streets was 48th Street, 49th Street, and 47th Street were all upgraded when I first came here to handle this type of development for all these infills. So yes, it would be all to support that.
Yes, supplemental, Councillor Overwater.
Thank you, Mr. Chant. Also, now I know in our last discussion we discussed the waste bins that would be along the highway, and we were hoping that somehow they would not be along the highway, that we didn't necessarily really like the idea of having that aesthetically pleasing coming into our community. Is that something that can be accommodated elsewhere on that property? Or can we say that it has to be closed in or tree covered, or?
If I through can the chair, clarification, you're talking about having the rollout bins on Highway 27 themselves or in the back lane?
I believe in this application it said they were going to be along the highway.
Just the storage of them would be on the side yard, but they would not be allowed to put them out on the highway for pickup.
No, I didn't
So
think
that'd be
that.
yeah,
No. That was not my intent for that. I know, it was storage, but we were saying that we didn't really like that as being aesthetically pleasing along our highway coming into our community. So I'm just wondering if somewhere along the line that can be addressed.
Thank you, Councillor Overwater. I understand what you're saying now. I have seen several along Shannon Drive screen the storage, where they'll put up a nice fence or screen, which is quite
Yes.
I don't know how you want to say it, unique. And
Yes.
Did you want to speak? CEO McGuinness.
So on a number of these issues, we need to understand today that we're dealing with the land use designation, and we're not dealing with a development application. The ability to deal with development applications have been delegated by council to either the development officer or NPC. So things like screening and those types of things will be discussed during an application, not a land use bylaw change.
Thank you for getting me back on track. That is a point of order well taken. Councillor Harper?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. There was a lot of study done, a lot of input from our public as well as our administration and council into the East Olds Area Redevelopment Plan. As part of that plan, there was a number of redesignations or designations of property in those areas from, in some cases, from R1 to R2 and R2. I'm a little bit disappointed that today we have before us, after all of those months of work into adopting an East Olds areas redevelopment plan, that we have before us a request for a redesignation from an R2 to an R3. I certainly recognize that doing infill is important for East Olds, but I think we have a long ways to go to ensure that the appropriate developments take place within that infill, and I don't think that work is complete yet. We also have a number of issues in reference to parking, on-street parking, off-street parking throughout our community. And I believe that allowing 2 fourplex units in currently what is now R2 designation would just compound problems with on-street parking that we have currently through our entire community. So until such time as we have further changes to our land use bylaw to ensure that there are development standards with teeth to them for the East Olds Area Redevelopment Plan, I'm not sure that I could support this. And we need to learn from all of our mistakes in reference to fourplex units and the lack of parking that's provided and the continued traffic problems and on-street parking problems that we have in our community.
Thank you, Councillor Harper. Further comments or questions? Yes, Councillor Overwater.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think with this plan, it shows that there's 8 parking stalls there. I like the mayor's option of if that turnaround is congested by extra vehicles that possibly shouldn't be there, shouldn't be parking. I like the idea whereas over by the college, you have a parking permit if you're supposed to be in front of that unit. So if this is the design, I know we're just changing the land use bylaw, but I don't think I have a problem with this.
Thank you. Any further comments from council? Seeing none, I'd then ask the development officer, please, if she would like to make final comments.
I think I'm good, thank you.
Yes, you did a good description on that then. Therefore, I declare the public hearing closed. Thank you very much, council members. I would then ask you at this time to refer back to page 7 of your agenda, where at this time I will be seeking second reading for bylaw 2015-01. Councillor Duryea.
Thank you, Worship. I would move that second reading be given to bylaw 2015-01.
Thank you. Further questions or comments? Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, I actually went and read the area restructuring plan today to clear my mind on how I want this to go. And I can't support R3 in this area. Just reading the vision statement, it says East Olds is a historic residential heart and soul of Olds, lying between Uptown Olds and the college, within walking distance, recreational facilities, linked to pathways, botanic gardens. This is the vision that they want for this area. Parkways, open spaces, this vibrant traditional prairie neighborhood offers mature trees, spacious lots, and heritage homes surrounded by local shops, amenities that provide gathering spots. So this is the vision that the residents in this area had. They're taking it as a livable and aesthetically pleasing, family-oriented, safe, and active community for all citizens of all ages. You know, they say it's a sustainable to meld the beauty and values of yesteryear with the eco-conscious elements of the future. I got some new words out of that reading. And I can see almost every infill coming here aimed at providing residence for college students. This is not what the vision of this area is. I know I support the infill development. This area has a good potential for good infill development, but I think we need to keep it out of the R3 and look at townhomes or duplexes, that type of thing for this area.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Seeing none then, we have Councillor Duryea with second reading on the floor. I will then call for the vote. Those in favor? Those opposed? It's defeated. We have a tie. 3-3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll have to leave that to administration then. And we will move on. We are moving now to page 18, please, of your agenda. Page 18 is the Municipal Development Plan, or the Southeast Industrial Area Structure Plan and the Municipal Development Plan amending bylaw. We are looking today for first reading for both of these bylaws and then to set a public hearing date. May I have Councillor Overwater for bylaw 2015-03?
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the bylaws
We'll do one at a time.
Okay, 2015-03 be given first reading.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. And we will stay consistent. Just a minute here. We've got 3 bylaws. Oh, I guess I could do them all at the same time, couldn't I? Okay, we'll do them all at the same time.
Do you want me to redo it again? Okay.
Councillor Overwater's letting her name stand to move first.
2015 and 0-04 and 2015-05 be given the first reading. If we can.
We should be.
Is that it?
Yeah, we've done them. I've never done them consistently as one.
Okay, now we're doing them different.
Well, they're okay. You're good for first reading.
Okay.
It's just that they'll be
Okay.
dealt with separately.
Okay, so do you want me to make the motion?
You've done that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very
We're
much.
good?
It's instead of repeating ourselves 3 times, we'll just put your name. I accept your name on all 3. Any questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Now I would ask then the same for public hearing for these bylaws. Councillor Duryea.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that a public hearing for bylaws 2015-03, 2015-04, 2015-05 be scheduled for Monday, March 23rd, 2015 at 7 p.m. in council chambers.
Does council have questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much.
So, Your Worship, I think Mr. Friesen from PCPS is here, so maybe we should allow him to give us an overview of what we're trying to accomplish with this work.
I thank you for taking your time to drive to Olds and be here with us. Please do approach the podium, and the floor is yours.
Thanks for having me this evening. It seems as though this is a pretty popular issue. Not too contentious, I'm hoping, and I'm sorry for the thickness of the attachments this evening. These 3 bylaw amendments have to do with a subdivision in the southeast area of the town of Olds in the industrial sector. And the issue came about that in the very southeast corner, it was supposed to be designated as a highway commercial area for a fueling station or a truck stop or something along those lines. In the time since the plan was developed, ATCO Gas has installed several pipelines that reduce the feasibility of the area for commercial purposes. In order to accommodate slightly different industrial parcels, the applicant desired to move the road into a slightly different location as well. And so these bylaws are addressing this. The land use bylaw is changing the designation from urban reserve to light industrial. That's bylaw 2015-03. 2015-04 deals with the ASP itself, the area structure plan, the Southeast Industrial Area Structure Plan. And the issues there are twofold. We have the subdivision, which requires some small amendments in terms of the road and infrastructure placement and the designation of that commercial parcel, changing it to industrial. The other issue is that an amendment in 2007 was undertaken, which resulted in some internal inconsistencies in the document. These were reviewed and cleaned up so that the document is now consistent with the vision of the town, and it can't be misinterpreted by future development. And finally, 2015-05 deals with the municipal development plan, and again, that's changing from highway commercial designation to an industrial. There's one issue of note that in bylaw 2015-04, as circulated. There was a small oversight in the first paragraph. I've brought a new bylaw that deals with that slight change, and I'm hoping that's not an issue.
Could you read that change, please?
Sure. The issue is that the attached booklet and maps being Schedule A are hereby adopted as and in the circulated edition, it says, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the circulated edition before me. Does someone have it in front of them? So you can see it says Woodlands Area Structure Plan, and that was incorrect. So it now reads adopted as the Southeast Industrial Area Structure Plan, which is correct. It was simply an oversight. I'm sorry about that. So that was the only small change.
We'll have that for the public hearing date.
Of course.
Yes.
Thank you.
Questions? Yes, Councillor Harper?
Question. Woodlands would have been nice, I don't know. Better than Southeast. Sounded good. In reference to the creation of these lots, is there any requirement for municipal reserve as a result of this subdivision creation? No? Yes?
There is a municipal reserve, and that's actually noted in the subdivision report. As per the town's guidance, municipal reserve has been taken on the remaining lots to the very southeast corner.
Any other questions?
Oh, okay, thank you.
No, seeing none then, again, I want to thank you for your time and patience with us.
No, thank you. It's a
And
pleasure.
we'll see you on the 23rd, I'm sure.
Yes, you will.
Very good.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move down to page 110 at this time. Item 6. No, we've already voted. We had readings. First reading. Yeah. Thank you. All right, 6C. Community Peace Officer Bylaw. And that starts on page 110. Mr. McGinnis, would you like to start with this?
Thank you, Your Worship. This was on our last P&P agenda, so I'm assuming that all council are familiar with what we're trying to do with these two bylaws, and hopefully we can get all three readings of both bylaws this evening.
Yes, we have been well versed with these, with our P&Ps and meetings that we've dealt with, and any discussions through community services bylaw as well. We've had lots of discussions. So at this time, I will start with bylaw 2015-06, and I'll start with Councillor Duryea and work around. Thank you.
Appreciated, Your Worship. I would move that bylaw 2015-06 be given first reading.
Thank you, Councillor Duryea. Are there questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Bennett.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that bylaw 2015-06 be given second reading.
Questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Harper. Consent.
I move that bylaw 2015-06 be given unanimous consent to present for third reading.
Thank you. Being there were no questions prior, I will then call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And third and final reading, Councillor Walsh.
I move that bylaw 2015-06 be given third reading.
I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Very good. Now bylaw 2015-07, starting with Councillor Overwater.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that bylaw 2015-07 be given first reading.
Questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Walsh.
Move that bylaw 2015-07 be given second reading.
I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. And consent, Councillor Harper.
I move that bylaw 2015-07 be given unanimous consent to be presented for third reading.
Thank you. I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Bennett.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that bylaw 2015-07 be given third reading.
All those in favor? That's carried. On behalf of council, I'd like to thank the CAO and his staff and Debbie Godfrey for putting all of this work together with your hours and hours and discussions with council. Well done. I'm looking forward to getting this on the move. Unfinished business, none. Where are we here? Okay, I think I'll finish these 3 items and then just, does anybody need a bio break? Yeah, we did them all together. All right, we'll go down to page 122, please, of your agenda. It is really warm in here, I do have to admit that. But it's only because it warmed up outside, I think. All right, this is with regards to the Olsen District Hospice. And I think what we'll do is perhaps have discussion prior to putting this on the floor, as there is some debate with dollars here. I would like to thank Mr. Lucas and the CAO for putting the information together, and note that on the alternative options at the bottom of the page, there is a typo. It should read $11,060 rather than $1,160. That makes a big difference on what we're going to pay for the difference. Now, I'll open it for discussion. Council, thoughts? All right, we'll start with Councillor Harper.
Well, I'd just like to comment that I really appreciate the fact that administration went through and has been able to provide evidence to Mountain View County that the town of Wolf, through various funding requests, has been able to support the Olsen District Hospice over the last 5 years, to the tune of $38,940. And so I think that's really important for the county to know that.
Yes, it is. I'm sure that it was Olsen District Hospice that's looking to know that more than the county. But thank you for the information. I'm sure that they would find that very interesting. Any further comments at this time? Councillor Walsh.
Actually, I do like this approach. I'm not sure if the county's made any donations over the years either, but it's a starting point, and I think that's important that we start this way and then see where it goes.
Thank you. As well as Mayor, I will have to say that after reading the background and information supplied by administration, that I am proud that we've already to date almost $39,000 allocated. I would like to move forward, and if we have to say a one-time payout of the $50,000 as per their ask, and look at the alternative that $50,000 ask administration to bring back for spring budget, and identify how we pay the difference of $11,060 would be what I would recommend. However, input from council would be good at this time. I know that this is they're just getting on their feet, and I really feel that if we could, as a community where hospice is being born, start a baby step, that the rest will come. And that's just my thoughts. Any further thoughts on that? Otherwise, I would accept a motion. Councillor Harper?
I would be pleased to present the motion that the town of Wolf support an application by the Olsen District Hospice Society to Mountain View County Health Funding Grant in the amount of $38,940 to match the grant contributions from the town of Wolf since 2011.
Okay, so does that mean that we won't be looking at identifying for the difference of $11,060 then to match it to the $50,000 ask? Councillor Harper?
Well, I'm quite pleased with, putting this motion forward today that's been prepared for us. And if by some chance, if Mountain View County finds it in their heart to grant them the additional $11,000, then we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
I'm not sure they could do that through this application process. Is that possible?
The only comment I have is the policy suggests that it has to be matching by the urban municipality. I'm not sure if that's the case for other things like the helicopter pad in Didsbury or the funding that has went to Sundre through this grant program. So I'm not 100% sure whether how hard and fast this matching contribution from the urban municipality is.
I see. Councillor Walsh?
I'm just thinking we could turn the tables. We could say that we'll match the county up to 50,000 if they. I was just thinking that would be a better way to go about it. It just gets a little bit more pressure on the county to ante up 50,000. I just throw that out.
I don't know at this time if they have actually allocated funds, but that's a good recommendation. Did you have your hand? Okay, Councillor Overwater?
Thank you, Your Worship. It is my understanding that they have asked through the health funding program through the county for 50,000, and I would like to see our community add the 11,160 up to match the 50,000 that they're asking the county for. This is something that possibly could touch all of our lives at one point in time, and I think it's a very worthy cause, and I really believe that we should be supporting it. Thank you.
If you want to put a little pun on it, we could lead by example, Councillor Walsh, and start at the $50,000 as a one-time ask, and then we can move them. I would find it hard-pressed for me not to be able to speak to this to any of my citizens in the town of Olds. That is my personal opinion, and I would totally support the difference. But we do have a resolution on the floor at this time. Yes?
So I'd just like clarification, Mayor Dahl. So are you asking for an amendment that we would do a one-time ask administration to come back for us to be able to donate a one-time $50,000 grant or funding?
What we have right now is a resolution on the floor from Councillor Harper.
Right.
We can move forward and vote on that and put another resolution on the floor, and or you could make an amendment with regards to alternative option number 1. We're at the bottom of the page where it says, honor the original ask of $50,000 and ask administration to bring back a spring budget adjustment identifying the additional $11,060. That could be made as an amendment. We could vote on that amendment. If it's defeated, the original motion is passed. If not, we can move forward. Yes, would you like to make an amendment, Councillor Overwater?
Thank you. So if I'm not doing it right, I'm sure you'll let me know. So I would like to make an amendment that council decide to fund the 50,000 request with new funds and ask administration to bring back a spring budget adjustment to increase taxes or to fund the request
You're on the wrong
reserves.
one. It's the first one. It's the first one. We're just looking for the $11,060 difference.
I thought you said the 50,000.
Okay, go ahead and read the first one and you'll understand it. Oh, no, your page must be cut off then, because what we're looking to do is identify the difference of $11,060. Debbie, you know, you have that? Yes. Okay.
I think that would be easier.
Okay, well, you know, we can follow the process.
Your Worship, my friendly amendment in the amount of $50,000 to match the contributions from the town of Olds since 2011, and that the $11,160 shortfall be covered in the $11,160 shortfall be covered. Yes.
No, that's incorrect. If you do the math,
No.
it's 11,060.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there was a mathematical error.
$11,060 shortfall be covered in the 2015 budget adjustments.
Well, there you go.
But we don't want to give another $50,000.
So what we're doing, no. It's okay. So where we are right now is that all we wanted, yeah, we're here. We're good. It's been a long day, I understand. But that's correct. So could you read the motion back to us now so we could identify that we are truly just making the additional 11,060 difference?
I'm not really confident that I've captured it correctly, but what I have is moved by Councillor Harper that the town of Olds support an application by the Olds and District Hospice Society to Mountain View County Health Funding Grant in the amount of $38,940 to match the grant contributions from the town of Olds since 2011. And further that
Administration bring back a spring budget adjustment identifying the additional $11,060. Mr. Lucas, does that make sense to you? That is what the motion should read. Are you comfortable with that?
As long as we are all confident that it reads that it's no more than $50,000 and that we've already contributed $38,940 to the Olson District Hospice. Okay?
That's exactly what it
Good enough.
says. That's
To a
correct.
total of $50,000.
All right, to a total of $50,000. There! How does that go for you? That's clear. I think it's the heat. We're melting in here. Okay, thank you. The reason that option was put in there is because they wanted to have the $38,940 to show in the motion. Councillor Bennett?
So I'm going to ask something because I think Councillor Overwater was asking something different as well. And when they did the presentation, were they not asking for new funds, not just funding?
Well, they are, but that's entirely up to how we want to deal with it. We can use new funds and up the tax rate, or we can use the process that we're doing today. Mr. McGinnis, could you explain that better?
Yes, my understanding is it's not necessarily the new $50,000 from the town of Olds. They were asking for support to apply for the grant from the county, and the policy that the county has says that there has to be a matching contribution from the urban municipality. So when we put together the RFD that's in front of council today, we went back and looked at what sort of contributions we've made over the years. And I think that that's what the society was looking for, just our support for a grant application.
They just didn't know how we were going to approach it. All right, are we all on board? Did we vote on that yet? Okay, so would you like the motion read back to you, or are you all? Okay, we're ready to call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. Thank you.
So just for clarity, we have now committed to the $11,000 plus, and we'll just find where we're going to fund it from.
But that's only if Mountain View County provides the request. They could provide less.
They have to provide 50,000. If we do,
They just have to accept the application. All right.
Excuse me, could I
Yes,
just ask
Councillor
a question?
Overwater.
Is that clear in the understanding of our agreement with them that when they say we match, but do they say, do we match this year's dollars, or does it say we match 10 years prior?
So it's not an agreement, it is a county policy. So that is the way that we have interpreted their policy, and we'll find out whether they have an issue with that or not.
The intention is good. If we need to bring it back for an amendment, we will. And our CEO will confirm that. Thank you very much. Page 127, please. You know what? I'm going to take a 5-minute recess. Okay, well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We need a 7-minute recess. Thank you. Reconvene back to regular meeting now, please. And move down to page 127 of your agenda. And we will discuss now the 2015 priorities and annual process. Olds RCMP detachment. Mr. McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Worship. Our staff sergeant was at a council meeting previously, and we did talk about this item at the last P&P meeting as well. So the recommendation in front of council this evening is to give the okay to the 3 priorities that were presented by the staff sergeant, and further that we consider membership in the Alberta Association of Police Governance, which is a relatively new group, but certainly has good tools for, I think, our administration council and our police advisory committee to play a more effective role.
Thank you. That's right. And this was presented to council in the past, and the annual conference is coming up in May, and I would like to be able to, if council deems appropriate, then to move forward with the application of a membership for AAPG. Perhaps Mr. McGinnis can speak to his staff and or decide who should attend this. It's a very, very good event with great information, police advisory committee, etc. So council, I would then ask for a motion to be put on the floor. Councillor Overwater.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the Town of Olds 2015 priorities for the Olds RCMP detachment be confirmed as youth, drugs, and traffic. This includes the consideration of forming a collision reporting center. Do you want me to add further?
Yes, please.
And further, that the Town of Olds apply for membership with the Alberta Association of Police Governance.
Does council have questions in this regard? I know Councillor Overwater.
I'm happy to see that they're open to the collision reporting. I'm really excited about that. I think it'll take a lot of stress off them. You know, they can send somebody else and they can crack down
Seems to
on
be
the
a good
drugs.
model that's working in other parts of the country, so I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, and I thank Councillor Overwater for bringing that to the attention after attending a conference, I believe it was at AUMA, where there was a discussion with regards to the Collision Reporting Center and a discussion hence with our CAO and some work behind the scenes brought this forward. So thank you very much for that proactiveness. And if there's no further comments or questions, I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Item 8C, page 132. Mr. McGinnis, I'll leave that up to you and your staff then to look at the conference. Thank you. Page 132, and this is the South Red Deer Regional Wastewater Commission financial statements. Councillor Walsh, would you like to get that on the floor for discussion? Is a motion?
Sure. I move that the South Red Deer Regional Wastewater Commission financial statements for December 31st, 2013 and December 31st, 2012 be received for information.
Would you like to highlight any particular items in discussion on these financial statements?
It's historical documents now. And this came about because we changed our accounting to the Mountain View County, and they decided to switch it over to the Bellamy system, which led them down a path that was a rabbit hole. So our AGM didn't happen until the end of last year, so that's the reason why it's late. Projections for the next one are right on schedule.
So we will be seeing 14 come up soon. Does council have questions or administration?
No, we've had a look at the financial statements and nothing that is really surprising. So look forward to the current ones that we will see in a couple months here.
Very good, thank you. All right, we will go ahead and call for the vote then on these, and we will see the 2014 come to us in the next couple of months with a more true picture. Thank you. Those in favor? That's carried. Do you need to take this resolution back to your board? Commission? For information? Thank you. All right. we are going to now move down to item 9, page 153. Councillor Duryea, would you like to put a motion on the floor?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I would move that the reports from council, authorities, boards, commissions, committees, and task forces ending February 23rd, 2015 be received for information.
Thank you. Councillor Walsh, do we get meeting minutes from the Technology Committee? Do we need to have this on our reports?
Yeah, you will get meeting, yeah, for the Technology Committee for sure. They just didn't have a meeting last month.
Okay, we'll just, I'll leave that up to you to make sure that Debbie gets those. Mitch does them? And you contact Mitch. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. It is the end of the month, and we will certainly open the floor and start a round table. Councillor Duryea, would you like to start?
Yes, Your Worship. Thank you very much. So in the past week or so, I've attended a couple of meetings. I'll start with the library, the Olds Municipal Library meeting, which was last week. Basically, we made corrections to the final draft of the strategic plan, which will set us ahead for the next few years. We're also preparing for the upcoming AGM. One of the sore points is that we needed a treasurer, and one of the board members has indeed stepped up, and we have confidence that that person will do a good job. We're also preparing for Pillage the Village, which is probably just around the corner, not that far away. So we'd encourage your attendance there. A lot of fun. Those things are forthcoming. I have the date, which I think I've given previously. If you would bear with me, please, Your Worship. No, advertising is coming. They have a committee. The committee's been working diligently, and so the date for Pillage the Village is Saturday, May 23rd. And if you remember, I reported that it will be in two parts, one from 2 to 5 to entertain families and also the vendors, and then the dinner will start approximately 6 o'clock and go till the last Viking has fallen.
So are you saying that the children will have to leave at 6?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, no, 5 o'clock. They need about an hour to prepare to get the dinner going there.
Thank you.
And also at our AGM, we will receive, and we have reviewed already, the annual report of the library manager as well too. That meeting took place on Wednesday, February 18th. No, that's not right. Yeah, February 18th. Also that same day, at an earlier time, I went to the Parkland Community Planning Services meeting. And one of the things that they're looking at doing is looking at possibly hiring a new planner. As they're reviewing their budget, they're finding that they are getting more and more work, and in order to help decrease some of that deficit that they are experiencing, if they hire a new planner, they will have more billable hours, which will mean a dent, although not tremendous, but still a dent in the deficit, but also help to alleviate some of the pressure on the other planners. And Mike was here earlier, and I'm sure he could have mentioned something about that as well too. We missed, that's not the right word. We applied for the GIS grant. We applied at the last moment, and in talking with Municipal Affairs, those people who applied at the earliest possible date will probably see that GIS grant come forward. So there might be 3 or 4 jurisdictions who will be awarded that grant. Probably we will not be awarded that grant, but they are suggesting that we can reapply. However, with economic downturn as it is, that may be held off for a bit, which is unfortunate because that was would have been a great boon to Parkland Community Planning Services. So that's kind of a bit of a tough pill to swallow. it would have been so much more advantageous. We are also striking, as mentioned in the last time I reported, a finance committee, and we've had responses, plus our chairman, who is Mark Kimbrell out of Innisfail, and they are getting set to have a first meeting here soon, and we'll know when that is when we meet again, probably in March. Those are the two committees that I attended, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bennett.
My meeting was canceled today, and my next meeting is not until next week, so I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Councillor Bennett. And Councillor Harper.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Most of my report is in reference to the Wilson District Chamber of Commerce. Attended their monthly luncheon meeting on February the 18th. They had a number of great presenters for that meeting. They also reported some new members. I attended the Board of Directors meeting last week as well. They welcomed the new college representative to the Chamber of Commerce Board. Her name is, I gave Amy Forbes, who is the Tammy Forbes, who is the second vice president of external relations. Yes, reporting to Jordan Cleland. They will be saying goodbye to two of their board members following the annual general meeting. Melanie Hepp and Mike Caceres from Canadian Tire have decided not to seek positions on the board of directors for the following year. The board meeting, the annual general meeting, is in March. Councillor Duryea, who is my alternate, has agreed to attend that meeting in my absence. I know that he'll make some sound votes. Lunch is always good. So, and today I attended the Mount View Regional Waste Management Commission meeting, and I know that Councillor Overwater probably has further reports in reference to that. And I do know that one of our councillors has taken up the offer from Citizens on Patrol and has actually gone out on one of the COP patrols and said he found it very interesting. So they do invite other councillors to take up an opportunity to go out on patrol, and you just need to contact them, and I'll give you some further information. Thank you.
Councillor Harper, have you been on a patrol?
I've been on about 3 or 4 patrols so far.
What times do they go?
Well, you can choose your times. They can start patrolling as early as 10 o'clock at night, and I've gone out as late as 1 o'clock in the morning. Other times I've been able to go home at midnight. Their patrols vary, so if you're a very early morning person, there's some people that patrol like starting at 4 in the morning, and you could go out with them then.
Thank you.
You
for
don't
that
have to stay for the full 3 or 4 hours that they're out.
Thank you for that information. Councillor Wall.
Yeah, several things in the past month. I attended the Assessment Review Board training along with Councillor Harper and Councillor Bearshaw. I think I passed. If I read that email correctly, we're required to pass it to be able to sit on an Assessment Review Board. So you're required to update as a refresher course every 2 years, I think, 3 years. So that was interesting. I also attended an OI Tech meeting and OFL meeting on the 12th of February. They passed their business plan. They had 24 new customers in January, which is a record, well, for January anyway. They need about 600 plus, they need about a little over 1,200 customers for the coming year. So it's got to be a challenge this year to get that subscription rate up to about 1,200 residents. They can run in a cash flow crunch by July. If everybody signs up at once, it'll be sooner, because it takes money to hook people up. I've also attended the South Red Deer Regional Wastewater Commission meeting on Thursday. The big issue there was what they call the true-up for a wastewater cost at the Red Deer treatment plant. Red Deer earlier or late last year told us they made a mistake on calculating the rates. We've been working on 70 cents for forever since this started, and they came back to us and said, well, you know, we recalculated it, and actually it should be $1.06 per cubic.
What did you say?
$1.06 per cubic meter.
From what? From 70?
From 70 cents. So I take issue with that. So this last budget, Red Deer has passed their budget for their utility rate, and they've increased their residents' water rate to $1. They've increased, Red Deer resident rate, flat rate is $27 a month plus $1. I may be wrong on this. I think they charge 90% of the water rate for treatment. Because they feel they made a mistake, they're wanting to raise us up slowly over the next 3 years. They're increasing the rate for South Red Deer Regional Wastewater Commission to 80 cents this year. So that's 10 cents plus another 5 from the commission, so it'll be 15 cents coming up. That takes effective in March. Next year, they want to increase it to 92 cents. And we did hire our own expert to go and talk to them to check out their rate. And we were able to manage it from $1.06 down to $1.02. I think we're stuck with the 80 cents this year because the residents are paying more than that. But we're still meeting with the mayor and their senior administration to really talk this out. There's a component of that on debt that we don't feel we should be charged because their upgrades were 100% covered by provincial and federal funding, but they add a component of debt to their rate calculations. So that's Red Deer, City of Red Deer. So basically, when we have our rates now, we have to look at the City of Red Deer rates. We have to look at the South Red Deer Regional Wastewater Commission rates for operation. And we have to look at the town of Olds' cost of operating also. I guess they hired a new company to look at their rates, and they formulated a rate. It's a very complex process that they go through, and you're going, complicate the profit? Is that the idea or not? I'm not sure, but we're still questioning everything, and you know, I think we still should be at a lower rate than the residential customers because the residential customers include I&I. There's a complication of that. I guess our biggest argument is ours is metered right at the gates so that they know exactly what we're putting in. So this will be an ongoing thing for the rest of this year, I suspect, and we're looking to educate their council. Other than that, I also attended a Red Deer Municipal Users Group meeting last Thursday. This is talking about a different water quality, but that was the theme of the meeting. They had a speaker from ESR Environment and Sustainable Resource Development. She's a manager in the water division. Just to update us on the water conversations they have had around the province. We talked about quality of water and what they will be doing this year. They hired a person to look at the quality of the water in the Red Deer River, in the watershed. So over the next 6 months to a year, probably somebody will be contacting each municipality in the watershed to discuss with them how they protect the quality of the water and look at the quality, all the research done on the Red Deer River, so that they maybe develop toolkits for municipalities along the Red Deer River to figure out if we're doing a good job or a bad job of maintaining that quality, water quality. Some of the reports out said Red Deer River is at high risk for quality degradation. Councillor Thompson from Sundre, he pointed out that the clear cutting upstream of Sundre is probably responsible for a lot of their flooding, but he's quite happy that Alberta Transportation will be repairing the erosion around the bridge and fixing up the bridge in Sundre and Highway 27, so that was positive for our area. So stormwater runoffs of any type will be looked at, so it should be a very interesting study that's coming forward out of that group, so I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully they put together a nice toolkit that municipalities can take a look at and do what they can. What we're paying to divert our wastewater probably figure big on what doesn't go into the Red Deer River, but at a huge, huge cost.
Thank you. Councillor Overwater?
Thank you, Your Worship. Let's see, I had a meeting, our Waste Commission had a meeting with Municipal Affairs on the 28th of January with CAOs and other councils present. I'm not really sure if we really learned a lot from when they came. I think we already knew where we were sitting with our agreements and such. So anyways, today we did have a good meeting. The commission has decided to sell the 2 pickup trucks privately, as the Canada book value shows that the value is $35,000, and the county offered $20,000. So we felt that we would be able to possibly get more than 20. That would have, taken $15,000 off each truck, and I'm sure we can get more than 20. So we will be advertising those trucks. On our fleet report, we still have 4 more trucks to go to Calgary to get checked. We added a line to the purchasing bylaw that states no alcohol to be purchased on commission credit cards. The town of Didsbury had sent in a letter asking a few questions, and we felt once we get doing our business plan, we would be able to better answer those questions for them, so we'll just wait on that. We reviewed the 2014 year-end financials, which is just a draft. It shows that we had an $865,000 deficit at the end of 2014. We also reviewed the 2015 January report, and it showed that we had a $365,000 surplus at the end of January 2015. However, this reflected a requisition for first quarter, so it should have actually only been $117,000 surplus. Revenues are a little below. That is due to the fact that this is only January and our busier months are more spring and summer. Over the year, it should balance out. It is looking better as now we have our fees set to offset the actual costs that we have. We had a great presentation this morning, which Mayor Dahl and CEO McGuinness and Councillor Harper attended. The facility, the name of it is Waste Away. They have facilities already active. The facility in Tennessee has been running for 12 years. What they do is take our waste and convert it into pellets for heat. The cost would be approximately what we have as a fee for tipping fees now. They would build the facility and operate it and just charge a fee along with a long-term commitment of tonnage. There would be no upfront charge to the commission. Instead, it would be a guaranteed fee for a long-term contract. Could be anywhere from 10 to 25 years, really. They also don't need any manure for this system, as some of the other presentations that we had seem to require a lot of manure, and our agricultural farmers around here, they tend to look after their own and spread it across their fields anyway for fertilizer. So the commission is working with Mountain View County to look at renting the building. They have it at their operations yard in Didsbury. Right now the commission rents a building in Didsbury, and it costs us just over $2,800 for rent plus our utilities, whereas the building that the county uses right now is just basically for their summer staff, and it would fit our needs to probably about a third of the cost. So we're looking at that, and that building, if it's in our business plan, and if it's the direction the commission is going, we would probably end up possibly purchasing that building and putting it out at the landfill. And then everybody, that's where everybody would be, is that housed at the landfill, like all of our managers, financial managers and such. Also, Didsbury was questioning the payback of the requisition. They wanted us to reopen the budget talks again. However, some communities just didn't get it for whatever reason. I don't know how we could have spelled it out anymore, that the requisition that was presented this year was not a one-time fee. It was a fee that if we continued with that fee, it would take about 7.5 years for us to, got the notes here. With collecting the $25 requisition, it would take about 7.5 years for us to come up with the money that should be in the closure and post-closure, the recycling reserve, and the capital reserve. So again, it was stated to Didsbury that once we're having a meeting, a presentation with our CAOs, and once we find that direction, then if by the end of March we can come to some sort of solution, then the letters of withdrawal would be taken back, hopefully by all 6 communities, and we would not have to reopen the discussion on the municipal agreement, taking it to legal. So tomorrow we'll be having a business plan meeting, workshop, all day to go over our CAO presentation and to see where the commission is with that. What else? That's about it for that. We're going in camera later, so I'll have some other stuff for you. That was my day.
Thank you very much. I will conclude then. The CAO and myself attended FCM, Sustainable Communities Conference. I would have to say that the opportunity to share our learning goals for Sustainable Olds helped us to connect with other delegates in similar sustainable priorities. My takeaway was that Olds is both a business and community leader in sustainability. Our collaboration in implementing a Sustainable Olds plan with Olds Institute is really, truly unique and one of a kind. And it was very clear in all the workshops and with our opportunities for both Mr. McGinnis and myself to share our Olds stories and our successes, that we always went back to Olds Institute, as our CEO will note to you in a presentation he did one-on-one. We're leading by example in Canada. We had a new session in this conference, the Sustainable Conference. They had a new format that you do lunches, during your lunch hours, you do forums. So we spoke about what high priority areas of common interests were. It was really nice that you could walk into a room and they would all have stands in different areas of provinces, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and you got to pick and choose where you wanted to go and discuss and share your stories with. This is really, truly what this whole connection with peers is in this networking, this sustainable FCM. It was really exciting to work with students. London, Ontario hosts at this particular conference Western University students, and the students are in a Master's of Environment and Sustainability degree program. And it was absolutely fascinating to sit with these students and the questions that they asked and what we were able to share in our history that we've had with over the last 10 years was truly rewarding for them to take back to their teachers. Interactive workshops, the styles that were designed to enhance peer-to-peer connections and learning. And one of the key sessions I attended were sharing failures. Now, sharing failures, basically what it takes to learn from what didn't work. We truly do, we fit in there as well, as far as storytelling of how we've had to come from learning through our own mistakes. And the best part about it was you have to admit it to move forward. One of the best stories I heard was from the city of Yellowknife. The mayor of city of Yellowknife, Mark, telling his story about Yellowknife and how they came through what they thought was going to be a very successful venture, and found out that by listening to the public and holding it wasn't a public engagement, it was actually a plebiscite, that they are happy they didn't go through because was it geothermal? They were told that by the professionals, and everybody and their staff were told that, oh yes, it's hot enough down there, and yet they were told by others, no, it's just warm. And at the end of the day, once all the facts and science came back, it was just warm, so they would have lost millions of dollars. So it was a great learning experience. The city of Red Deer provided us with a public participation toolbox where we had a workout session that was a full day. And the interesting thing is we pretty well have already lived this and built this ourselves when we worked with our engagements with Bob Chartier. So again, we're ahead of the game. Our colleagues next door, the city of Red Deer, were kind enough to go ahead and put it forward. I'm sure that we'll be able to do that in the future ourselves as well. And for the sake of time, I could go on, but I will allow Mr. McGinnis his spot here. I was working as a speaker with Making Sustainable part of a winning election platform. It was a session that was well attended, and it was a great workout session, sharing our stories of what to do and how you got there, etc. Mr. McGinnis then would like to, I hope, speak on his project that he did, and it was great, the challenges and opportunities from planning to program.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm happy that you were so happy with this conference. I actually sat on the conference committee this year, so it was really quite fulfilling to play a role in planning a national conference, and this conference did have a different look and feel for those of you that have been to sustainable communities in the past. Typically is very big center oriented. This was not. This was about the majority of the communities across the nation that deal with the same sorts of issues that we do. For example, one of the comments that I heard in a cab ride with people from bigger centers is there was not one session on transportation. And typically transportation and the Green Municipal Fund is high profile. So just a little bit of flavor. Organizational learning was a thread through the entire conference, both from an elected official and a staffing side, and engagement was a major focus. So my takeaway from the entire conference is it really is starting to become more holistic. It's not about environmental issues like it was in early days. It really more is. There was so much about social and the social economy that was really quite good to hear, because in our journey that's where we sort of ended up, is all of this stuff really is about building places that have a high quality of life. But yeah, I participated in two different sessions as well. One was on tools for staffing, and it was really great to share some of the stuff that we've been doing around organizational learning and change management. And my session was very well attended, and people took away, I put together a 2-pager, and there were lots of tools that people were able to take away. The second one was, it was a new type of workshop. So they took 50 delegates from the conference, and 50 delegates from the London community, and we went off-site went off-site, and we did tabletop exercises. So we had facilitators, and I actually was a facilitator at one of the tables, and students from Western were scribes, so there will be a report coming forward from the work. But it was all about what can the City of London learn from others across the nation as to how sustainability is working and how they may want to incorporate certain things. So again, engagement was the big thing, and you need to have a passionate group of people that can drive this beyond just council and administration, because we're just one part of the community. So again, it was just fantastic, and thank Council for allowing the mayor and I to attend and participate and contribute to the conference.
Just in closing with these comments, it was in all the workout sessions and any of the storytelling that I shared, the common question came up on how did Olds and how does Olds do it? And I would have to say that collaboration is truly not across the province or across Canada. Collaboration is very strong, I think, in Alberta, in central Alberta especially, but you don't find that in Canada across the board. So we got to share a lot of how we do that, and I've got some really good contacts that will be keeping in touch with us to find out how we do that. But you should just close with the story of your presentation on the wonderful presentation you brought, and then the comment that you had to make after because of what happened.
So my presentation was it was titled "The Field of Dreams," and it was all about ONET and the trials that we've had in building this thing, and having the naive assumption that if we built it, they would come. So we talked about the challenges that we went through, and how we had to get back into public engagement at a number of different places in order to make sure that we kept moving forward. But I had two little videos embedded in my PowerPoint presentation, and when I loaded the first one, it just buffered and buffered and buffered, and I made the comment that London needs more bandwidth, and the 100 people in the room thought that was pretty funny.
So we got to actually show people live what it's like when you don't have the proper amount of bandwidth, because we just couldn't get it going. And I actually had a contact, and I shared this with Mr. McGuinness. I sat with a gentleman at one of the workout tables from Niagara, municipality of Niagara, and he sent a nice email back and said he was really wanted to thank our team for the presentation we did that day. And he said, and I really would like to get to Alberta, and except for I'm going to need some help, he says, because I played football for the Edmonton Eskimos, and I know that you're in the Calgary Stampeder territory, so can you bring me some bodyguards when I come to visit you? Anyways, his name was Sandy, and I can't pronounce his last name because it's Italian, and he is an elected official in Niagara. So when he comes, I'll certainly introduce you to him to all of you, and especially the media, because I'm sure he'd like to talk to you. Not. So that's good for that, and I was very delighted to be invited to a private birthday party for our friend Alex Zeck on his 90th birthday. It was a wonderful visit with his family, and a gentleman that gives so much to our community. MPC meeting we attended. We have some members that attended around this table as well. It was good to see that the last secondary suite build is coming on a corner that we're very happy to see coming as a build. So that completes pretty well that area of that private build that council wanted to bring forward for secondary suites, and we can move forward with some means to measure that and share that with community. The minor hockey fundraising event that our CEO actually refed, and the RCMP played with the girls, was a great event for minor hockey fundraiser. The Farmers Bondsfield Banquet was a wonderful closure for a week of healthy athletes that came and visited Olds. And I just want to let everybody know the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast is still on March 10th at 7 a.m. and there's still tickets. Mark Buchanan, he's a great storyteller as well, so hope to see you all there. And I'll leave that. If there's any questions, I know we have a motion on the floor. Okay, I have some with me. If anybody wants, I have tickets myself, or they're at the front desk. All right, who's made the motion? Yes, Councillor Duria has a motion on the floor to accept reports. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. We'll move forward. Now we are at item 10, quarterly financial position update. When do we expect that, Mr. Lucas?
The auditors are scheduled to be here March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Oh.
And so by the time they finish their in-office stuff, it'll be sometime in the 1st of April is what the target is.
Thank you. All right, and we'll move down to accounts payable, page 205. Councillor Bennett, would you like to make a motion?
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the January 1st, 2015 to January 31st, 2015 accounts payable report be received for information.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Harper.
Yes, I've already provided the questions to Mr. Lucas, and it seems like they're all related to the fire department. So I'm not picking on them. I just thought I'd point that out. 911 supply, check number 70478 for $461.96.
Okay, before Mr. Wagstaff answers the question, because it was 911 supply, when I was talking with Councillor Harper in the hallway, I assumed that it was fire department. My assumption was wrong.
Oh, okay. Not picking on the fire department.
So that particular purchase was for municipal enforcement. The one was for a radio, new radio holster. The portable radio that we had purchased kept falling out, so we bought a new holster. And the other two items were secure boxes that you can put any of your notes and notebooks and filing in that would be portable in case of fire, but secure through fire and anyone attempting to be entering.
Second question. I know this is fire department. Safe Tech emergency vehicles for $294,527.95, give or take a penny.
Yes, this one definitely is the fire department. It's for the town's share of the rescue truck.
Just a clarification, the town share, did Mountain View County share in this purchase of this truck as well?
It's 50-50.
And then, just getting back to that truck. So, and this is perhaps what Mr. Chant could provide an answer to. When the county shares the cost of these purchases, do we logo both the Town of Olds logo as well as Mountain View County logo on those trucks? Just a question.
Through the chair, just the Town of Olds logo is on the door. It doesn't have Mountain View County. All of our fire trucks got Olds Fire Department written on them, but they don't display the they don't display the town logo or the MD logo. It just says Olds Fire Department.
Councillor Duria.
At our last fire committee meeting, I think we discussed this matter, and I think that the fire chief was going to be checking with County Mountain View to see if, no, let me back up, that they were thinking about putting on, because they had made those payments, a decal that would have both the Town of Olds and the County of Mountain View on it. So we have a fire committee meeting in March, and I will bring that up again and bring information back to you.
So, third and last question. First Response International for $997.52.
And this one is the fire department. What it is, it's software. It's a quarterly license for software that they use for tracking training and doing training.
Yes, Councillor Walsh?
Yeah, I was just curious of Itron Canada, what the company is and what they do. The check number on that is 70406. Is it meters?
Itron Canada is the supplier for our water meters. It's also the supplier for our acoustic listening devices. And so without looking at the check, it's one or the other.
Okay.
Or it's possibly water meter parts even, because we've bought all three in the last little while.
Oh, that suits me fine. Thanks.
Any further questions? Hearing none, we have a motion on the floor from Councillor Bennett. Those in favor? Thank you. And finally, page 214, correspondence. Who would like to put that motion on the floor? Councillor Harper?
So moved that the correspondence and information report ending February 23rd, 2015 be received for information.
And there are two items, and that's our federal gas tax dollars and a thank you note. Any questions?
Just a comment, if I could.
Yes, thank you.
Sustainable communities. Another big item was asset management. Asset management was a huge theme at conference this year.
Yes.
So, again, we're, as you see, we've are using part of our gas tax money for our asset management plans. So.
Well, we have $58,603 and we're only using part, but they gave it to us for asset management. Okay, that's awesome. All right, no further questions then? We have a motion, is that correct? Thank you. I'll just have to turn my page back and see who it was. Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. And at this time, for the media, we will take we should take 5-minute recess for questions, and then we'll reconvene and move into a in-camera session for a legal item. Wow.
Olds Community TV, your go-to channel for news and information in Olds, Alberta.